Okay, good afternoon, folks. I hope everyone had a relaxing weekend. I wasn't going to trade today. I had a hospital appointment, but it got cancelled. Excuse me, just one second. Sorry about that. Yeah, it got cancelled, so happy days. So I have taken a trade just on that one account earlier, that one there. I liked it. We had a bunch of bounces there. That was going to go out the EMA. Consider that one, but I took the lower high. It looked much better on my second 2000 tick chart as well. Really nice there, trap longs there, and possibly down here as well. So my gut was that was going to work. So I have had a couple of more payments, as you can see. One that cleared late on Friday, and the other one I'm still waiting for. One's 500, one's 550. So that basically takes me up to a couple of hundred over 12,000 for the month. So it's turned into a really good month, this. So what I'm probably going to do is trade this, whether I trade it for the whole month and then take payments at the end of the month, or whether I do it for 2 weeks and you know, half the month and then take a bit. Well, I kind of have to play it by ear. So, S, good morning. Karina, good morning to you. Speedy, how you doing? Okay, so let's see how we got on today. But it's been a great month for me, March has. I haven't had one single red day in March. It's been grand, really has. So long may it continue. So, looking at that daily, that's really interesting. That is, we've actually come right the way down and made a new low. Now, I didn't expect that. When we came down, fill that gap and shot up, I didn't expect that to come down, but you never know. Usually they do, and that one has. So it'd be interesting to see. I did wonder whether we kind of had two legs down here and a bounce, whether this might be, you know, sort of pushing back up. But it's hard to say. I can't see that going down much further before it pushes up. I mean, we've cleared out any possible, you know, liquidity there might be. I mean, I can't see some coming down this far, but you never know. But I kind of didn't expect that. So it'd be interesting to keep an eye on that and see what today brings. Now, I mean, there's no reason why it can't just continue down in an overall downtrend, but it's such a sharp push. It's just a sort of sharp move down. Then I'll be surprised. Mind you, you know, a few people have said we're really, really overbought and it was due for a big correction. So maybe this is it. Who knows? NQ is bleeding. Is it really? So let's just have a look. So looking for a couple of legs down, which we've clearly made. Testing this low, I'm guessing. Yeah, it is Sam, how you doing? But it is annoying when you see that and you see how far it pushes down, but we just don't get into it, do we? That's where I got in. I mean, if you had the nerve to hold, I mean, look at that, down to the lows, there's 20 points, which I don't doubt it's going to get. Yeah, there you go. But trouble is, what you don't want to do is see this. Trouble is, that can do your liquidity some severe damage. It pulls back sort of best part of 10 points. Depending on how much liquidity you got in your accounts. Now, over half of mine now, over half of mine, I think 11 or 12 of mine now, the drawdown has stopped. It stops at $5,100. So when all mine have dropped at $5,100, I may decide to go for a few more points if I see certain types of trades. John, how you doing, buddy? So, you know, we'll see what happens. So there you go, right down to that measured move. Right to the tick. So is this sort of breakout of here? Pushed up and retested this and had 1-2 legs down. Who knows? I mean, it does look like a correction, that, but it's risky going long into this at the moment. Tony, how you doing, buddy? So this does look like a correction. So my gut feeling is this is probably going to continue on up. So let's just draw that. What's that ATR doing today? 3.5, just under 3.5. That's not too bad. So my guess is with these two pushes down, it's probably going to test this area up here. So we got no news today, so we need to consider ourselves with that. I don't think there's a bigger channel there. This doesn't make sense, really. It's hard to say, really, isn't it? I mean, there could be the start of something down. It's possible there's a bigger channel. I think it's just a bit too early. Ben, how you doing, pal? Brandon, how you doing, matey? It's warm in the UK today. I don't know about where everyone else is. Yeah, it's about 18 degrees centigrade, which is nice. I've been out and cut the lawns this morning, and it is warm. It is warm compared to what it usually is this time of year. A rough weekend. Was out in Newcastle. Are you really? I bet you are. I bet you are. That's very tempting to take though, but it's just too big. It's a little bit congested as well here. Do I think that'll come down? I think it will. It's a bit congested. I'm not taking it. But how far is it going to come down? So would it major 3 points? It certainly major 2 by now. I think it's probably going to test that. Yeah, so it did work. It was very tempting. Trouble is, we've bounced off here. It looks like we've had 2 legs down and bounced. So I'm just a little bit unsure about that. My other 2000 tick chart, it looked okay, to be honest with you. Trouble is, don't know whether there's a bit of an overshoot there, which that may send it down as well. HTF, it's going to. What is that, mate? HTF. Oh, higher time frame. Gotcha. Let's have a look at the 10,000. Thing is, we are depending on how high a time frame you're looking. I'm looking at the 10,000 tick chart there. Trouble is, we're below all this now. We haven't been down here for a long while. This is as low as we've been. So it's hard to know how far it's going to go. Looking on the daily, is this thing going to just completely tank? It's hard to say. I mean, we're below this. We haven't been this low since sort of early September. Well, actually, a little bit earlier than that, mid-August. I mean, that is a fair drop. Obviously, that seemed to take its course from when Trump came in, and then it just went down and down and down and down and down. I thought when we filled that gap yesterday, I didn't think we were going to come below there. I thought there'd be a lot of buyers there, but we smashed straight through that without any difficulty. Yeah, there's a little leg in a leg, isn't there? Yeah, I mean, if we get another leg down on that daily, then who knows where we could end up. So, just in the short term, is there some sort of a channel here? I think there possibly is. The trouble is, it always makes me nervous about shorting into the unknown. You tend to think when we get down below everything, that's when, we tend to have a bit of a pullback. I know it doesn't always work that way, but you kind of just expect it. And I think that's probably why so many people try and pick tops and bottoms. I've always believed it's the worst thing to do. Now, obviously, I dare say there are some people that make a success out of it. But you really got to know what you're doing, and it's got to be your thing. For the likes of us, it tends to not work really. And for some reason, when I used to trade stupid on evaluations, I always used to try and pick areas where it was going to pull back. It's so long. Strange why I did that when I wouldn't dream of doing that on my P accounts. It's weird, isn't it? Do you know, it's possibly because I haven't got the patience to wait here, but when it's down here, I haven't got the patience to wait for it to come back, so I tend to try and ride it back. And I got to say, as a success rate, it's absolute crap. So, I mean, we've heard 1,000 times, haven't we? Don't trade against the market. You're never going to win, and it's about as a fact as it can be. Trouble is, a lot of times you try and pick these areas, but when you don't do nothing, they move back. When you do decide to pick that and decide to ride it up, half the time it triggers you, come straight back, stop you out market. You almost get the sense when you're trading carelessly that you're being watched. It's uncanny how it tends to work. But look at that. If you thought we're right at the bottom, I just mentioned it. Yeah, they are bullish bar, relatively bullish. Let's go back. And it rides back beautifully. You see that and you think, okay, look, nice big bullish bar. Let's ride it back. Triggers just stops you out. It's uncanny how this market works. It really is. They don't take it personally. It's hard not to sometimes. Now we're down here and there's nothing stopping, you just don't know whether it is going to just decide to take a huge dump, do you? You don't know. Odd. Very, very odd. Yeah, so see, Dan has got that as a small break. I'm not super convinced it is. It's negligible, see, because that break could look quite different on your chart compared to mine. So I'm just going to leave it like that for now and just I mean, really, you could put that there and think, yeah, look how it's fitted on that midline. So there could be a two-tier channel there. You never know. Markets tanking on Trump's tariff. Yeah, he needs to lay off these tariffs. Mind you, has he got an end game? You think he must do. Surely he can't be that stupid. But the trouble is, if you start, you know, attacking various countries around the world with tariffs, it'd be very easy for them to start to cut you off with certain things. But I don't know. I'm not a businessman. He clearly is. Whether he's a good one or not, I don't know. But he's talking this weekend on it, is he? Trouble is, it's unsettling markets generally, isn't it? Which is not good for anybody, really. You wouldn't have thought so. You know, people who've got pensions and investments are just seeing a big decline at the moment. And it can't make people feel good. But I don't know. You know, I don't know enough about politics and business, really. But you would generally think he has some sort of a goal. I've got to say, though, that Vance, there's something about him that makes my blood boil. I don't know what it is. He just comes over as very slimy. I don't know what it is. You know, the way he was attacking Zelensky, I thought he was even more pathetic than Trump, to be honest with you. I think with the tariff, short term is terrible for America, long term should be good for me. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't really know enough about politics. You'd like to think he's not suicidal. You know, you don't want to take over as president and put your country straight into turmoil, do you? Start panicking people, you know. But if you've got an end game, sometimes things get worse before they get better. So I don't know. Where it will remain to be seen. He's got his period where he'll do what he's going to do, and then see what happens. I dare say. See, for me, seeing his last presidency, I don't think he comes over as very presidential, but he isn't really a politician. He's a businessman. But a lot of people say he was good for the country, good for the economy. So who knows? He's thinking in 20% more. I don't know what he's doing at the moment. I dare say we'll find out. Increase, yeah. Okay, so we got a leg back, a little bit of sideways. Are we going to get a second entry here? Do we want to take a second entry? Is this an overshoot? Have we had a break? Self-sufficient. They'll be one of the first countries to do so. I think it's possible. We must, yeah. Trouble is, you know, there are issues like climate. You know, I mean, we can't be self-sufficient in this country. You probably never see a banana again. And I believe, you know, going back to the 1940s, they never saw bananas or certain bits of fruit. So, you know, there are certain things we can't get that we need to import. But in an ideal world, if you are self-sufficient, you keep all your sort of money, within your own country. We've got two legs up here. Now, they're legs to me. There's no confusing them with a channel. But I don't like that bar. It's an inside bar. There's nothing I can really do with that. Daryl, how you doing, bud? Time market is crazy today. Yeah, maybe. So what I will do is put that there. Let's put a bit of a line there. So we've got, so if you'd have taken that when it triggered, just stopped you out, you may have got a little bit out of it. But to be honest with you, it was an inside bar and I didn't expect to work anyway. Not only that, we got a little micro channel up. So little break, new high. You can't take that one, bars naff. It's no better on any of my other charts. Not terrible on the 1,000 tick chart, but it's moved too far. So there is a higher low with a failure there. So let's see how this reacts. Now, is there any possible way there could be a bigger channel there? It's possible. It's just too early, really. Tell you what I'm going to do, just out of curiosity, is put that there like that and see what happens here. There is a possibility, touch, 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 touch. If this bounces here and comes down, then maybe there is something slightly wider. If there isn't, this doesn't look like a bad channel, so I'd expect to break in a new low anyway. But we have broken the lows on the daily. We've had a break of the channel, and we've had two pushes down to the extreme on the daily. So, you know, it could reverse. Whether it does is another matter. I'll give that the benefit of the doubt. Put it there. If it goes any higher, I'll get rid of it. Still got to be careful here. I've been trapped short in here before, and it's pushed up higher. That's tempting. Maybe not now. Listen. Good time to invest. Certainly would be, mate. Great time to invest in the S&P. Now, it could come down a lot more, but if you look about where it was a few months ago, you know, I've always said, I've always believed for quite a few years now, you can do a lot worse than invested in the S&P. You kind of invested in the best of best, really. I mean, from a pension point of view, long term, I think it's averaged about 10.25% per year over the last 10 years. That's pretty stable. And not only that, you're invested in 500 of the best companies in the world. So, you know, I mean, if we have a recession or something like that, it doesn't matter what you invest in, it's going to drop somewhat. But if you, when was this? So that was what, February sometime? And we are down nearly 700 points. What's that? A couple of percent? A little bit more, maybe? It's not 1%, is it? It's more than that. 7,000 points. Oh, it's way more than that. So we're at we got to, I don't know, 6,000 something. So it's down about 9%, isn't it? Something like that, maybe 10%. You know, I have heard people say it's 30% overpriced or overvalued, and a nice correction of 15% would be really good. So I don't know, perhaps, I don't know, the guy who I heard him say that, we're down about 8%. Yeah, the guy who heard him say that, perhaps he knows what he's talking about. So this to me looks like a channel, so I'm going to put that like that. Average annual pullback in the S&P is 14% for a correction. Is it really? So perhaps that's what he was saying by a 15% correction. See, I don't know enough about the mechanics of these things, really. The trouble is, when you're a retail trader, you've never had what I would consider any type of proper formal training, from a bank or an investment company of some sort. There's a lot of holes in your knowledge. But you don't need to know a great deal about the markets to be able to trade. You just need to, you just need to have the emotions sewn up, and a reliable strategy, and the ability to read the charts. You don't really need to know about much else. So this is fitting quite tight. So I expect there to be some resistance definitely around here. There's probably going to be some selling there, so possibly a leg and a leg there. It's weird. I put in 2 payments on Thursday night. One of them passed in the morning. The other one still hasn't passed. Strange, isn't it? I've traded them all together. I don't quite know why that happens. One cleared on Saturday that I put in Friday evening, and the other one still hasn't cleared. One's for 550. That one cleared. The other one's for 500. Yeah, I don't know. Some pass super quick. In all fairness, they were traded together, so they don't really differ. The odd one of the newer ones I've traded on their own, but there's nothing I would have done that for any reason they wouldn't pop. Sometimes they do this. I put in for $6,000 in January, and it took about 4 or 5 days, and it went to pending to review, and then they all pass it. I don't know. Perhaps if they hit certain criteria, then perhaps they. Oh, no. To be fair, I've had payments from, I think, 11 of the accounts. I've had 6 payments from one of them, 5 payments from another, 2 or 3 payments from. So at least the good thing is, with that 12,000 in February, that was only really from half my account. So that's encouraging. I mean, in all fairness, if I could earn that 12,000 every month, I'd be over the moon. I'd definitely be over the moon, and that's really been earned only out of 10 of my accounts. The 11th account was the one I put in sort of last night, but no, I trade them all pretty sensibly now. I mean, you guys see me trade. I don't trade after hours. The only reason I took that trade early was because I had one account unlocked that I've traded for about 5 days by itself. That's over 2,000 now, that is. Mr. 1%, not quite, mate. I think it's in the UK. I think I'm assuming you're talking about the top earners. I think if you're in 100,000 in the UK, you're in the top 2%. That's probably quite different from the US. You're probably in the top 20% there, aren't you? And I think it's if you earn over 200 or 175, you go into that 1%. I don't mind. I'm happy to earn a living out of it. I mean, if you could earn $100,000, I've always said I would love to be earning £100,000, which is about $127,000. And if I could earn that at any time in my life, that's a nice wage. You can live comfortably on that in the UK. You know, I don't want to be greedy. Don't get me wrong. You know, if I have the opportunity to make more money, I'll snap your hand off. I'm not stupid. That can be the goal. But yeah, I mean, if I could average $10,000 per month, maybe a little bit more, that would more or less give me 100,000 UK pounds. That's a good wage in the UK, that is. As I say, you're in the top 2%. 6 payout and beyond. Start from there. 6 payout. Traders can access 100, but yeah, they can. On 2 occasions, I've been allowed up to $2,000. The trouble is, the way I see it is, if I take that $2,000, it's going to put me down to 500. And my experience of being able to take $2,000 and leaving yourself 500 never ended well, because you know you haven't got a lot. And if you take 500 now, you've still got $2,100, so you've got something of value there, and I tend to protect them better. So, you know, if I take 2,000 out of that and leave myself vulnerable, in a month I could take 1,000, still have plenty, and a month after that still take 1,000. And you know, while I've got them, I'd rather continue to, you know, be smart and make them continue to pay. I don't know at what point Apex may put you on, group them together and put you onto a live account, or whether they would just continue to pay you. You know, if I was earning $10,000 or $15,000 every month off these accounts, will they just continue to pay you? I don't know is the answer. I know, you know, people like Nutty, he had 200,000 last year. They continued to pay him. They're still paying him. And the same with Alpine as well. I believe Patrick Wheeland is still being paid by them. So, you know, it's hard, you know. Incidentally as well, I put £3,000 into my own brokerage as well. Well, I converted it to dollars, which was about $3,800. My favourite setup, A+. I think lower highs are by far the best. I think they're the safest. Second entries can be a bit problematic sometimes. You know, sometimes you'll get a second entry and it can be a bit finicky. I like higher lows or lower highs. I also like triple tests. But what I'm going to start doing is, when I see what I consider A+ setups, I'm going to start saving them. Saving the image so I can get them in. And, you know, when sometimes we get some newer traders in, you know, just have a little snapshot of half a dozen really good quality setups. But yeah, I like higher lows. I do, you know, 2 legs back. These are my least favorite. I would consider that possibly a triple test. My interest was just taking that back to the EMA. I thought it may go down a bit more, but these can go wrong. Now, I wouldn't have taken that on all my accounts, just the one. And these are my least favourite, picking tops. But that type of triple test where we go down in 1, 2, 3, those I love. I think there was one on, was it Thursday or Friday? Where was it? That one I liked. 1, 2, 3, clearly a triple test. What I love about that is we've had a leg down, and also we've got a higher low and a failure trapped, and that big bull bar triggered came straight down. That tells me long's a trap, this is coming down. So that one, I took that on one account, and there was one a few days before that, I think. Was that one possibly? But they're reliable as well. And the good thing about those, if you get a really nice one, they move massively. Was that one? That was a possible one, wasn't it? Big move down, 1, 2, 3. That was possible. But I always like to see, am I trapping longs? And there's a failure there. Second entry short triggered failure. So as this comes down to here, you're going to trap longs there. But there was a really good one that just careered down. I can't remember where it was now. It's frustrating that when you can't remember, but I am going to start saving them. So, you can point them out. But yeah, higher lows, I think the safer ones. And triple tests for me. But fear not, the longer you've been doing this, the more you'll just start to see it. It's very hard to believe that. I used to think, Matt used to say, you'll just start to see it all clearly. And I used to find that it's quite hard to believe you're really going to do that. But, as I say, I don't necessarily count second entries as such. If there's 2 legs up, it's a second entry to me. It doesn't matter if it's not a second entry by the count. It's more about how it looks. Legs are so valuable. If you can read legs, they're super valuable. So we've hit support again. I thought we might. I'm not interested in that lower high or whatever there, because price is still above that EMA, and it just may mean traders taking profits, traders getting back in. So I'm just sitting tight here. But I did put that line there because we have got some support there. Probably put that up a bit higher, actually. In fact, let's put it there. So there's bound to be stops here, I would have thought. Yeah, I mean, I could take the whole amount or most of the amount in a couple of the accounts, but chances are I'd just blow them then. So as I'm making money, it makes sense to keep hold of them. And not only that, if you blow it, then you've got to pay for another valuation or 2, and then you've got to pay another PA fee. So let's see what happens here. See if this has a bit of a push. I say, we don't get a lot of what I would consider A+ setups. A lot of them aren't quite perfect. You rarely see an absolutely perfect one. I think it's the case that it's good enough. But we rarely get what I consider an absolute textbook, the best you can possibly look at. We generally don't get them much, not that I see. So channel with a break, 2 pushes to a new high. Now let's see where this goes. Is this thing continuing up? Possibly. Can't really go short here at the moment in case this does decide to go up. Yeah, I put one there and then I thought I'll give it a bit of time just in case this, because we've pushed up there and cleared some stops out. So this could still go down. I don't think it will, but I did put a spike and channel there, but we're only just up to above this midline. So this to me could, it could come down. So just a bit. I'm going to leave it. The trouble is if you put that, your natural instinct is to want to go long. And at the moment, I just think it's not quite safe to do so. So this is interesting. Just looking on the 1,000 tick chart, we've got a big strong bull bar and that's triggered. Look at that coming down. Where do you think that's going? Below there, without a doubt. So if you bought there, you got triggered and instantly stopped out, and that was a fair size bar. So, I wouldn't rule out this thing going, coming down. Looking at the daily, it could continue down. It's so hard to say, but we've got support up here and we've cleared out any, sometimes, the price will do that. It'll clear out any liquidity and there's bound to be some along there and then continue on its way. So, I wouldn't go long or short here at the moment until it gives me some sort of direction, because it could go up or it could trap along there and come down. I mean, that channel has played out with 2 pushes to a new high. So on the 1,000 tick chart, we're comfortably below the EMA. Here we're, so let's see what happens here. That's kind of a visual second entry long. I'm a bit nervous about going long here. And I don't want to go short yet because this EMA is, we're kind of below it, above it a little bit. It's a little bit unclear. So if you took that long, you may be okay, but I'm glad I didn't. It may hold. Yeah. So you had to leave that really. Now I get people are thinking, well, there's 3 bounces off the EMA. It's bound to be going up, spike and channel. The first thing for me when I do that spike and channel, we're at the top here. We're struggling to get up now, which that tells me we're losing a bit of momentum. So for that reason, I wouldn't kind of do that, because if you put that, you very likely do that. And then what would you do then? You'd end up taking a loser. So it's just not ready for me to do that. And to go short at the moment, because it's sometimes, it'll go sideways and then maybe still up. So it is frustrating that sometimes it'll stop you out for going long and then it might come down here and then rock it up again. I think you just get used to just knowing something doesn't feel right. I don't necessarily have to think about a trade. I just either like it or I don't. And I like that. It's kind of a yes or no. A lot of times I've ummed and ahed about a trade. Shall I or shouldn't I? And sometimes if you take them trades, they lead to losers. But when you're inexperienced, every time you get to take a trade, you're like, shall I or shan't I? And so you've just got to give this a little bit of space. It could be 2 legs back and it may push up. Who knows? Just can't take a short here either because it may trigger and push up. It's very inviting to take that. You're thinking, okay, now we've pushed below the EMA, we've trapped the long, but sometimes it will come down there, take out the long stop, and you think, okay, now we're coming down. So you jump into a short there, it'll trigger you and then push up. it has a habit of doing that, but you do get used to noticing it when it's, at times there. But the thing is, people are seeing that, okay, second entry long, I took it, and I used to do this all the time. Trigger just stops you out. Straight away, you're thinking, we're going short. So you see that next and you jump in because your patience triggers you, goes up and stops you out, and then ends up moving up. I'm not saying it's held, but I used to lose trades like all the time. I'd go long there, get stopped out, and straight away my thoughts would be down, and I go short there and get stopped out. There's nothing worse than losing 2 trades in 2 minutes, which I think it's a good idea if you do win a trade or lose a trade, always just have that little bit of breathing space just to kind of, just to sort of recalibrate. But that used to happen to me all the time, 2 trades, and then you're screwed then. Tilt kicks in and down you go, and they lead to blown accounts. Used to set your clock by it. I mean, that did work. I don't think it looked terrible, but it's just not super clear at the moment. So, we could have 2 legs, and then it may go up for a second leg. I actually prefer the 1:30 I did. It just gave me that little bit of extra time before my wife and daughter stopped tapping on the door at dinner time. Tea time, rather. But yeah, I liked it, actually. I liked the extra hour, but you can run, but you can't hide, can you? But at least we've been welcomed with some nice sunny weather. It's lovely outside. I went out, cut my lawns. As I mentioned, it's nice, and it was warm, especially when you start doing something. It did go quicker, yeah. Sometimes I looked at how long I've been trading. 4 hours have gone by. Yeah, I was quite surprised. Is it really? Yeah, it's nice where we are. We got wall to wall sunshine, I think. Obviously brighter nights as well, which help. So what is it where I am at the moment? Yeah, it's 18 degrees where we are at the moment. 17, 18. So, yeah. So all day tomorrow, sunshine, 16 high. Sun all Wednesday, sun all Thursday, 18. Sun all Friday, 17. Yeah, it's going to be lovely. Yeah. Next 2 weeks look kind of nice. Very lack of rain, which is good. Might get out and start doing some stuff in the garden. 17 degrees, yeah, that's a nice temperature, that, isn't it? It feels quite warm when you get out in the sun, especially because we had some really cold weather in the UK, didn't we? Sort of January, February, it was just cold all the time. I know our heating was constantly on for the rest of the week. That's okay, that is, isn't it? Cuts your heating bill down a little, doesn't it? I was talking to my wife. We went out. It was Mother's Day yesterday. I'm assuming it was Mother's Day everywhere. My mum passed away a couple of years ago, so we had a walk round to the cemetery. Took us flowers, and it was absolute. We just had a wander around the cemetery, looking at some of the old graves going back 300 years, 300 years plus. And it was just lovely, really nice. And my wife was telling me her sister and her sister's daughter and their friend are going on holiday somewhere in July, I think. And I said, you should go with them. So they're considering it. And she went, well, I said, well, I think I might go away by myself. So if she does, I'm tempted. I'm tempted to go to Dubai for a week myself. Now, whether it'll happen or not, I don't know. But I'm very tempted if she goes away with her sister and my daughter. I might just sneak away. She went, I don't mind where you go as long as it's not Thailand. So, which I'm not going to argue. I'll take a free holiday. Regarding Zoom and planning, Zoom. I think were you talking to me about Zoom? I thought you were on about this, weren't you? Doing this. Zoom. I prefer the first bit, the first one. I thought you were on about setting this up, weren't you? I think I'm up and running actually, mate. Apart from showing the plot and execution, I've got all this on here now. The only thing I've done is removed a couple of bits because I've already got the EMA and these bits here. But the other bits and pieces, this I love that. Saves me having to do it twice. Really like that. It's great for just showing quick legs. And I have got ATR on here. It's a little bit clearer than here. But yeah. And this as well, great. I had one little hiccup with it the other day. I drew a larger trend channel and drew it into here and clicked to shut it, and I just caught it and it opened, but I realised and then went straight over to close. So I'm just aware of it now. I'm keeping it a little bit to the left. Now there was a little second entry that I didn't notice on the 1,000 tick chart. You can see it there, little micro with a break and a new high. It is a second entry short, and I don't think that looked too bad actually. A couple of legs up here would be okay, would be interesting. You took that, yeah, I think it looked okay there. I think there's a fair chance this is coming down. What I would say is I think it's worth paying attention. Just, why won't that go up or down? So let me try that again. I'm guessing after I play with that, you should upgrade tools to the latest. I'll do that after, bud, definitely. I think you've got to pay attention to this, that there may be a little bit of support here. You can see it there and you can see it there. So you've got to be a little bit careful. We should upgrade X tools to the latest one. Yeah, I think I downloaded it a couple of days ago, but yeah, a couple of things I left out because I have them on. The EMA is already set, and this as well. I like where it is. Took me ages to sort of move it around and get it right. Do you know what? There was something I thought about the other day, and I thought, oh, I should mention that to you. That would be useful to have, but I can't for the life of me remember what it is. So next time I remember it, I'm gonna write a note. What was it? I thought, oh, that'd be really useful to have there. I was looking at this. I decided to leave it. It's a little bit congested. It did work. Yeah, it's a little bit. It was kind of 2 legs up, but we'd had 2 legs down, so I did leave it. Just a little bit too unclear that. When I upgrade that, I've got to go into this. I've got to do it the same way, Jan, have I? Is it tools? No. Is it tools, export, Ninja Script? I've got to do it the same way if I drop it in Ninja Script Add-on. I'm assuming I will when I... now, is this coming down low? We are finding a bit of support here. I made an alarm feature. You just draw a line, and if price crosses it, you get an alarm. You can have it sent. Ah, what a great idea. What a great idea. So if price is on its way up here, you could put an alarm on here when it gets to here. So you could, yeah, I like that. Very nice. Yeah, the trouble is once you start thinking of these things, you can go on forever, can't you? Okay, got to be careful here. We've still got some support here, which we seem to be struggling to push through. Just looking at this 1,000 tick chart here. Bearish bar worked, bearish bar worked. That looks like, I was going to say breakout pullback, but it's not really. But is that going to push down? I think it probably will, you know. It's very tempting. Often it works like that, but I'm going to leave it. Yeah, it's no good now anyway, because we could get a failed breakout of here. So this is the 1,000 tick chart. Yeah, I'll be looking for a failed breakout, really. I think it's the safer option for me. The other chart looks better for that, and I'll show you that. This is my second 2,000 tick chart. That sideways, sideways, sideways. So I'd like to see a failed breakout. I'd like to see this come down for a second leg. But I'd like to see it push up, clean out possibly some of these, if there's any stops around there. There is on the 1,000 tick chart. So if we can get a failed breakout of this, that might interest me. 1,000 tick chart, there's going to be some stops above here and here. So if we can push up, maybe clear out this area here, possibly as high as there. Sideways, 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 failed breakout to run it down. It's not so clear on here, it's very wiki, but that's what I'm guessing may happen. But we have found support, so maybe, I don't know, who knows. It's tempting to get in there, but it's too early for me. If it closes there, you'd be taking a short right in the middle of that, and it may work, but it could sting you. That's interesting. Trouble is, we're at the lows now. There's nowhere to go. Yeah, it's flickering around a little bit here, so you've got to be really careful here. That big bar there is triggered as well. It was 20 odd ticks, so you may get stung out of here, and that will be. I don't like to lose that many points, so you've got to be super careful there. I'll be amazed if it doesn't do that. So it has cleared out every possible stop there. So let's see what happens here. See, there's always a possibility this is a range and we may be coming up here. So the natural instinct when we get a fell breakout is to look for a short. But we know there's a lot of support here, so we may not get it. See, it could just turn down now, or it could push up to this level. So you've just got to sit and wait, actually. Not sure why that won't move unless it's designed to do that. Yeah, so Thomas Way's just put that. So he's thinking possible range as well. So yeah, you have got to be careful. And Marco's just given us a little bit of information there. You've got to be really careful. I'm assuming that's Marco. It's not, but it could be. Let's just pretend it is. So just beware we get that job. I think we're going to have to save that and superimpose his face on it. I think that'd be worth the trouble. Okay, so we're up the top here. So we've got a channel with a break and a new high. Let's see what happens here. So there's always a possibility we got a leg up here and we may get a second leg. Who knows? Who knows? So channel with a break. Now, do we think that channel's already had a break? Certainly might have done. Do you make some changes to your chart? Look, does not look so clear besides you making the bars smaller. Is that a bit better? It's just because I've got the full length of this screen, which is why it may look a little bit. Is that a bit better, is it, bud? Yeah, I got the whole of this wide screen. I did move a few things around. I put my Apex accounts on the right side, just stretched it out a little bit. But yeah, I can do that for you, mate. That's no problem. So Dan has got that with a break. That's initially how I had it, which means there is a lower high there back to the EMA. So I wouldn't be surprised if he took that. Unless he's got a break somewhere else now. Let's just leave it at that. Took a short for 6 points. Yeah, if I wouldn't have had that there, I'd have been interested in looking at that myself. It certainly went down. Usually when you get something like that, that comes down to the EMA. There's plenty of points there. I mean, it's gone 5 points comfortably, so I don't generally take those a lot, but I am paying more attention to them. I see Dan mark a lot of those, channel break, new high, lower high, ride it back to the EMA. So that comfortably went for 5 points. And in fact, Marco put lower high only one. So it clearly worked. Trouble is, it's not super clear at the moment. Are we getting something like that and that? You know, are we getting something like that? I do like that, Jan. I like that because I used to have to do that twice. It was a pain, and they're both the same length as well, which I think is good. So there's always a possibility. Now that really is one attempt to go lower for me. So if we did have something like that, I'd be inclined to think we come down for a second leg. There is a failure there. Just trying to think if there's going to be long strapped. I think you've got to be careful here. You got around 5 points with 2 contracts. Good on you, mate. Good on you. Yeah, you got to be a bit careful here. Shorten this, I think. Next version or after, have an option line to drag horizontally. Last hour, yeah. There's endless things you could do with this, really, isn't there? Must be great to be able to do it, because I suppose it just, whatever you feel like you could use to make life easier, you know, you could kind of do, couldn't you? So, so a little channel there with a break. You've got to be a bit careful here. It's a bit congested, so I'm not getting involved in a short here because it may push up. Yeah, see, it's frustrating when you see that, trigger it. Do you know, a lot of times where I see that and it comes halfway up, I'm tempted to just get out earlier and consider it a loss. I think it's rare it does that and doesn't take you out. But if you can get in there, maybe here, if you get out here, you might save yourself 2 points there. But it, you know what I mean? Trouble is, this may trap now, channel down, we may get a second entry short, but as prices above that, he may say, yeah, if I see that, I'm just going to get out there. I could have saved myself 2 points potentially there if I'd have, you know, changed that, which it's $100 times 20. So got that long for 6 ticks. Yeah, I don't think it was a bad trade there. I wanted to give it a little bit of space because my concern was we have a channel down there, 2 pushes up and then down, but with the way it's looking, I think it's, you know, there's a good chance we push up, but I think the only thing that's putting me off it just a little bit was just this little bit of sideways But like you say, you take a bit less, so it's a lot easier to acquire that. Little channel. Possibly it comes down. It's hard to say, but I don't think it was a bad trade at all. Went for, certainly got easily 6 ticks. See what I mean about that? That's what concerns me. Now I go for more points than yen, so obviously I need to look at a slightly bigger picture or a slightly larger time frame. It's a little bit congested. It can go wrong, and I'll be surprised if it does get to there and doesn't take that out. Yeah. So that was my concern. Channel down there, second entry short. We didn't get a good short there anyway. It was just a naff bar. Yeah. How do I get that? Have I got to take a trade to get those to show, have I? Yeah, see, you got plenty of space on both those trades, haven't you? Loads of space. You've got more than double that space on that first lower high. Where it shows the entry and exit and put down 6 ticks, will that automatically happen, will it? Well, I've got this up. Anyway, here's where when I try it to see. So leg up, 2 legs back. Is this going to push up? Remains to be seen. Show trades. Let me have a look. Show trades. Where is it, bud? Top, middle, or bottom? Oh, it's the latest one. So it's not on this, no? Gotcha. It's in the strategy section. Strategy as in... Strategy as in here or not? Or on the main bit? Strategy settings. Okay. So you're about on here, yeah? So let's disconnect. That's tempting. Bear me a second. 2 legs round now. Let's leave it. I'm assuming it's in here then somewhere, isn't it? It's in here somewhere, is it, bud? Okay. Gotcha. I got you. Yeah, I got you. I'll sort it out later. 2 legs back. It's tempting to go long there. But the trouble is we have found support, so it just may not work. Stacking up a bit now. See, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm just going to remove this for now. I wouldn't be surprised if it does come down here. But it is looking, it is 2 legs back. But those legs, for me, are a little bit too close together. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. Yeah, I'll upgrade it to the latest one later. It'll give me something to play around with later this evening. It's hard to know what's going on here. We've got 2 legs down, a leg up. For me, I think there's a good chance this goes up. So maybe a second entry long here. It's hard to say, really. Close the gap. Yeah, there is a bit of a gap up there, isn't there? It's not huge, but, well, actually, it's bigger than you think. It's a few points, I think, isn't it? Maybe trap a few shorts here and push up for another leg. So we got a leg up, 2 legs back. I think there's a good chance we get a second leg up. Where's my legs? Leg, 2 legs back and a leg up. So I think there's a good chance we get there. That will get us close to this. Oh, keep an eye on this. Okay, is this a triple test? Is this coming down? Who knows? Maybe we get 2 legs and then a push up. Shall see. Yeah, just can't get any along at the minute. Hasn't triggered anyway. Well, on some bars it has. On my second 2000 tick chart, that's triggered. That's risky as hell. That. If I was going to buy there, that's not where I would do it. I would have a break of this and new low, and then I would consider that. So I think that's super vulnerable. This is my second chart, so depending on how you're looking at this, it's just too far off that bottom for comfort there, really. Yeah. It may work sometimes. I mean, the worst trade in the world can work. Having said that, see, this 1000 tick chart now all of a sudden doesn't look too bad. It's a higher low. We made a traps and shorts, but it may just come back to the EMA and then drop, but it's taken off. So that looked a little bit more encouraging, the 1000 tick chart. So the 1000 tick, it can be profitable. The thing I like about it is you're looking at the same chart, really. There's a little bit more detail there. You skipped it. Yeah, rightly so. Just because something works doesn't mean it was a good idea. It's just super risky. That looked a little bit more encouraging. But for me, if we're looking at a channel down there, really, I'd still like to see a break in a new low. Now, sometimes if it's a range, you'll hit a point and just turn, and sometimes we don't get it. So you may argue there may be a small one there, but it's not super obvious. But the higher low, I'd have been, interested in riding that back to the EMA. You're quite likely going to stop that out. If it stops that out, it's probably going to hit that EMA. But to me, this is a 1000 tick chart. I can't see you having a lot of potential profits there. See, it's a point back to the EMA. So it may come up there, trigger, stop out the short, trigger the long, and then come down here, stop that out, and make a decent low. You know, you never know. You just have to use your judgment, which comes from your skill over, you know, however long you've been doing it, and just make a judgment call. That's as complicated really as it gets. Does it look right? You know, so to me, if we'd have seen two nice legs down there, it would have made it a bit more encouraging. But for me, that needs to be sitting on that line, really. That is the type of thing, leg down, two little legs up, the leg down. That's a good place or a good pullback to buy. Obviously, then you got to make sure you know, your signal bar is worthy as well, and have you hit it a few times before. This will be marked on Mac. Yeah. That's why I look at Matt, because it's interesting to see what I think about a trade, you know, when you're watching it live, and what he thinks about marking it at the end of the day. Now, he'll have traded that live, so he'll have come across these areas where you're a bit unsure, which is why he only he only takes 1 to 3 trades a day on average, 2, I think. If there generally was that many high probability trades, you'd be daft not to take them. But you can't see them real time in most cases. You know, you have to make a judgment call, and you know, you make the wrong call, you lose a trade. So sometimes, until you see something absolutely obvious, you just got to leave it. You took it, easy blue trade. So it depends what your strategy is. You know, it may be worth it to, you know, to some. In all honesty, on the 1,000-tick chart, it didn't look that bad. Just back to the EMA, but you've only got a point. That's the trouble on this chart. There's less of, you know, being a 1,000-tick chart, there's less of a distance. You know, you got to cover more distance, or you got to reduce your profit. Stack it up now. See, there's nothing you can do here. Are we going to have another leg? We may. Are we going to push down, take out these? We may. Yeah, you just have to use your experience to decide when to get in and out. You took it 2 legs back. Yeah, see, it does look like 2 legs, but that was 2 legs for me. And a lot of the time, that will take us up there. And sometimes it'll make an effort to get down, but, you know, sometimes it won't. I ummed and ahed there, but I didn't like the bar, to be honest with you. So the trouble is, we could come down here now. You know, we've pushed down. We've made a few attempts to push up. We may be struggling. We may come down, or it may trigger these and then push up to the top leg and a leg. So there's so many variables, especially around that the centre line there. Is this going to push up? If this ends up bullish, my guess is it's going to stop out some of these, push towards the top. But it could go the other way. I don't like trading right around that middle, because it can trap you. And if you look at that 1,000-tick chart, it's triggered. Is that going to hold? Once she stacks up sideways, it reduces the risk of it working. My guess is it probably will, but it could backfire. And that's 20 ticks, that is. And it ain't finished yet. It's tempting, that. It's very tempting. I don't think it's a bad trade. But it's 20 ticks. And it is a little bit stacked up. Push up, sideways push up. I'm guessing it will push up. I just don't like the size of that bar. I can't see where there'd be stops up here, i.e. liquidity. So this may not work. If I see lots of red bearish bars up here, some liquidity, then it's likely that market's going to get dragged up higher. But there isn't really anything that I can sort of see that's worthwhile. Yeah, I mean, you could have, if you like that, waited for it to come a bit lower and got another limit order for a smaller risk. I'm staying out of this at the moment. I don't think it was terrible. It was just a little larger than I'd really want. It's not what I would call an A plus setup, but we push up sideways. We often do that. So my guess is it was probably going to work, but I don't want to take a risk on something which I don't consider a quality setup. What I will say is, as we've pushed up, we've bounced on that midline. I think the chance of getting this second leg is pretty high. You're done. Yeah, you take it easy, buddy. It's looking tempting, that. It's just a little bit too stacked. I think it'd probably work. There's just not much room to the highs. So I've got to leave that alone. I was looking on the 1,000-tick chart. I was looking for a failed breakout. When it got below, it triggered that and pushed up strong, but it didn't close high enough for me. But I think it would probably work. There's just not a decent amount of space to the top. If you go a tick above there, I mean, you've got to push through, so there's a point at best. I think it'd probably work, but I'm just not interested. It's not enough for me. It's not secure enough. It is still risky. because it's sideways and it can come back and chop you. Once it starts going sideways, that risk of it happening, and it looks exactly like it's going to do that. So yeah, it's frustrating when it does that. Triggers you up, takes you out by 1 tick. A lot of times I give it an extra tick and it does make a difference. Yeah, Dan was saying that. I agree, actually. Reverse head and shoulders. Shoulder, head, shoulder. It's a bullish pattern. We've got that gap up here as well, haven't we? So I'm going to draw a line to where that gap is. It's about there. I still think this is bullish in the short term. It's just catching it right here before it doesn't stop you out. If you took that, see, triggered you, stopped you out by 1. Whilst it's going sideways, you just got to stay out of it, really. There is a higher low on... It's very tempting that there's a higher low on the 1000 tick chart, but it could come back. It could come back and sting you. I'm going to have a go at this. I don't think it's
Order
that bad.
submitted.
Now we're above it, see, I think it's okay. I'm going to take a risk here. It's a little bit more, but I think it's worth the risk. It's frustrating when it gets a tick. No, it's going to take me out. It's frustrating when it gets a tick off you and it doesn't. Right. Ah, well, sometimes it happens.
Stop filled.
Oh, well, worst I've had for a while there. Oh, it's frustrating when you get a tick off it. I took it based on this, the higher low. I thought once we get above there, we'll push, and then it came straight down, took it out, but it happens. It's a shame there because I was a tick off passing it there. It's so frustrating. I was tempted, but sometimes if I got in there, I might have gotten a bit earlier than that, but well, it's one of those things. It happens. Everything's closed anyway, but there you go. It's a shame, actually. It wasn't so much good on here, but we had a leg, and I thought there was a good chance we pushed that leg. So I think I thought it was worth it, but it looked better on the 1000 tick chart. But the trouble is, I was going for 3 points there, And that's the problem sometimes. I brought it down from here to here because I thought it may trigger that out and push it up. Sometimes it does, so it was a tactical move, but there you go. You've just got to take it and move on. So let's have a look. Let's mark it. So, just goes to show things can change quickly. Oh, one tick off, I'd have been a tick away and that would have worked, but there you go. There is a lower high there. It's very tempting. But sometimes when you've had a loss, it's best to have a little bit of a breather, I think. See, if I'd have jumped in there, I would have lost that one as well. Let's have a look. Yeah, I lost that one as well. Yeah, it is frustrating when it does push up, but there's nothing you can do. You just got to sit tight and guessing there's probably some kind of a channel going there. Maybe, it's hard to say. Yeah, you just got to put up with it. It happens. It looked nice on there, and yes, it was going into the highs, but we clearly sort of were pulling back here, and I was waiting for a failure. It did push up, and then you trapped the shorts going to high or low, but it went up so far just before coming down and clearing it out. But it's one of those things. I thought it was worth it at the time. I got it on a limit order. I was a tick away. So we got 2 legs back and a bullish bar there, but still a bit choppy. See, I think this looks to me like it's coming down here. We're struggling here. There's going to be liquidity there and there. So we've got a leg down, little pullback, leg down. It's just hard to trade this stuff. It's super choppy. excuse me a second. I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. Let me just shut that one. So I'll be just 1 minute. Yeah, I kind of guessed it was likely to go up that way. Trouble is, you can get chopped up on the way up there. That was the trade I took. The high or low. In hindsight, it was a bit. A lot of times, I expect these to get triggered. It just unfortunately didn't quite go up enough. What I probably should have done, because this is the 2000 tick chart, is maybe just taken 2 points. That would have worked instead of going for the 3. I just left it for the 3. I mean, it could have worked, but break new high, and then down here to clean all this out, and eventually it went where I kind of expected it to go. But it's just one of those things. You've just got to sort of, you know, take it and see. Now, there's one of those double bar, what's it? Double width channels. We're already up here now, so we're filling that gap now. We're actually above there, so that's kind of where it is. Trouble is, if we've got some sort of a channel like that, it could come a lot lower. But we are close to that measured legs. Very tempted to take this, but something about it I'm not a massive fan of. I will lightly say that that's probably going to get stopped out, but let's go. How you doing, buddy? Go for 1-1 or 1-2. Yeah, I kind of like the 1-1. Why? What's wrong with Replicanto? Replicanto's fine. Everything's fine, bud. What do you think's wrong with it? On your losers. No, they haven't. Everything's closed. Something like that. No. Looking at my Ninja Trader. They're all 275. There's an extra tick. And there's my accounts. You can see my accounts. The balance doesn't change it. I don't think. No, I think they're okay. You got me worried then. Yeah, some of the... If I... let's have a look. The higher balances up here, the low ones were at 1,000, so they're just dropping down. So no, everything's fine, bud. You got me worried then. No, they're all showing the same. God, don't do that to me. Bam. No, you're right, mate. I'm not that harsh. No, I mean, it was worth checking. You never know. He might have been right. It might have been right if he wouldn't have said nothing. I'd have been kicking myself. No, what it is it's moving around, bud. 5286. Before 5286, it was just over 3,000, which is right. Yeah. Yeah, they reordered because the 700s were at the top for some reason. That's probably why it looked like it did. No, it's all right, mate. It's all right. If you think something's wrong, it's worth saying it, because if I miss something, it only takes me a second to check. So it doesn't, it only helps me. That's what your thought process on starting with micro channel short from the lower swing rather than the higher swing. Your thought on micro. Starting that micro channel short from the lower swing rather than the highest. You're on about there. I think that's what you mean, from the higher swing. I just wouldn't do it, really. It just, I don't know, just experience, I suppose. I just generally go with that. Because we trap long, so yeah, I generally wouldn't sort of do that. It's hard to explain why, really. Yeah, sometimes they change the order for some reason. I don't know why. But the important bit is just to make sure these aren't moving and make sure these are all grayed out. It's one of those double width channel trades there. Let's see if that would have worked. Two-point risk, 2-point profit. Yeah, it did. Surprisingly accurate they are, these double width ones. If you just buy at the close, 2-point risk, 2-point profit, work that. I'm going to start marking those. Had another one earlier. Where was it? No, that's too wide, that is. Okay, so we've now filled that gap from this morning over overnight. Touch, 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 touch. I don't think that's that bad, actually. Not the easiest day today, I'll give it that. Yeah, it does for me as well, mate. It's just so slow, isn't it? We're clearly working up. The trouble is, you can get chopped up so much on our way up there. It's not super clear, is it? It does when it's slow. It is. It does seem like a really long day. Yeah, you're right. I think for me, when you've taken a loss, which does happen from time to time, I mean, my win rate's pretty good, but I think it's super important to wait for a quality setup, because I think getting a win straight after a loss does a lot for your psychology. If you take a second loss, then that puts you down the dumps a bit. I haven't had 2 losses in a row since the end of February. That was the only red day I've had. I haven't had a red day in March so far. Unfortunately, this is the last day in March, but that's okay. I've had a good run, to be honest with you. I had 2 losses and I was down $500 on all my accounts. I think it was about the 28th of February, something like that. That was a miserable weekend, I got to say. It does happen. You just got to take it, really. And if you do take it and you manage to take it, that's when things start to change. I don't like the feel of it, but I know what I've got to do. You know what I mean? Uh, Thanks, man. I appreciate that. That's a nice comment there. Thank you. I think it's okay not to like. I mean, you know, does anybody really like losses? And it's okay to feel, you know, uncomfortable. You know, as we've all heard, it's about being comfortable, being uncomfortable. But you know, experience tells us if we don't accept them, it just leads to a spiral and you end up losing more. You know, I'm having a great run. I mean, to go through all March, apart from the last day, and have green days is great. I'm really pleased with that. But you are going to have losses, and I think processing it and talking about it and thinking about it is okay. He loves losses. I don't know whether I go that far. In fact, to be honest with you, I watched him trading a few weeks ago and he had 3 losses in a row, and it kind of made me feel better. You know, it's okay not to like him. No one likes losing money. Of course we don't. You know, you wouldn't be human if you did. But, you know, I suppose I have heard some people say embrace the losses. So when you say he loves them, to a degree, he probably embraces them. But, you know, differently to his book. I think people kind of... yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? I've not read his book. I've done part of the Best Loser Wins. But, you know, one thing I've learned is when Guardian Angel Trader has helped me to not revenge trade. And when you don't revenge trade, that's when your account starts to grow. Now, admittedly, you need some skills as well. But I have been doing pats now coming up 4 years. So it should be enough time to win more than I lose. And it is, you know, I've proven that. But you just have to kind of just get on with it and put it aside. But I was thinking about this a couple of weeks ago, and what I said is the chances of having a loss straight after another loss is quite high. So I think it's important to give yourself a bit of space, calm down, you know, not that I'm not calm really, but, and then just wait for another trade, wait for a good setup. Don't try and get it back. I try and look upon it as it's not my money. I look upon it, you know, come payday, how much can I take out of it? So, you know, if you try to get it back, I notice I've seen another streamer or two do that. You know, when they take a loss and they get a little bit more, they go for a bit more profit to try and get it back. And sometimes that can catch you out. If I went for more than 3 points now and it went for 3.25 and it came and stopped me out, that wouldn't be good for your psychology. So I think it's important not to get greedy and just, you know, so I took a tactical thing there. I moved that stop a little bit. Now, generally, I don't like doing that, but we had 2 legs back and a bullish bar and a higher low, and sometimes it'll come back, take a couple of weaker ones out, and I think that was probably a bit weak, and then carry on. So I made a technical, and it cost me an extra $100 per account. Now, if it would have worked, I'd have been up one. I'd have been 425 higher than I am now. So should I have done it? Probably not. It wasn't a revenge trade. It wasn't panic. You know, we had 2 legs back. It was kind of a tactical move. You know what I mean? I don't kind of do it willy-nilly, but it is unfortunate that it missed it by a tick. That kind of makes it even more frustrating. But because of that's only the 1,000 tick chart. What's the ATR? The ATR is 2.2. So perhaps the sensible thing there would have been to gone for 2 points. You know what I mean? And not kind of get too greedy. There is a lower high there, and I'm guessing it's probably going to come down. But I'm not going to take it because we are going up at the moment. Should not be doing a few times a day per week for quality trades, most importantly. Doing it in real. For everyone. Nothing. Yeah, absolutely. I do a 10-minute meditation to take a walk around the block. I think whatever it takes to help you is the right thing to do. I tried doing a bunch of things I didn't, and what helped me is coming down to 1 contract. I don't get quite so stressed. So it did work that lower high. Should I have taken that? It's kind of a counter trend trade. I'd take it back to the EMA maybe, but you don't know it's going to do that. I'm guessing it probably will. But it's not a trade I generally take, especially when we're moving up. So I don't want to try and change anything I do. Because I've taken a loss, you just have to continue to do the same thing, you know what I mean, and But I have felt myself in the past just wanting to get into a trade that I probably shouldn't done. Revenge trading is the main problem. It absolutely is, yeah. If you can stop revenge trading, things will change for you. It is that acceptance, isn't it? You know, we all like to win in whatever we do in life, don't we, really? But unfortunately, it doesn't always happen. But it is important to just accept it. You have to, really. There's no other way. It does take time, of course it does. You know, especially when you lose money. You know. But another thing about Guardian Angel Trader, you can put a timeout thing in there as well, so you can set 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes before it'll let you take another trade. So that's useful as well. I used to have 2 losses, but then I found often I lost 2 in a row. So I moved to just 1 loss and then I was out for the day. But I found I was getting scared to take trades. So the simple answer would be to reduce down to 1 contract, which half the risk, and then I allowed myself to take 2 trades because I was finding I was getting a bit nervous about taking a trade, which is not ideal, really, is it? So it's a good combination, and it has taken the sting out the tail. Simple thing is, if you're risking too much, it's going to hurt more. But you know, we also want to try and make money, don't we? How long did it take me? I kind of stopped. I would say, I don't know. I haven't blown all accounts. I've still blown the odd account because I've taken a risk, but maybe 7 or 8 months that I've stopped just blowing the whole lot, I think. Maybe only 6 months. But I still took silly risks, but I haven't gone all out on tilt, I don't think, for 6 months. Because Guardian Angel Trader helped me see that even with the odd loss, your accounts still grow. So I can't recommend that enough, just as a failsafe. But I didn't like taking that loss, but I thought the trade was okay. It went for 2 points. But you know, I've come to realise you have to accept it, and if you can accept it, that's when you'll start to make some progress. And I haven't revenge traded or done anything silly. And I've been taking money out every 3 months. I've had over 20,000 out in the last 3 months. So it just goes to show when I don't do anything silly, it does work. But it took me a long time to kind of get to that realization. A lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of just pain and frustration and misery. So we got a leg and a leg back. Looks a little bit rangy, this. The trouble is, now we fill that gap, it's hard to know exactly a price is going to continue up or not. But it's not a quick fix. How much I spent my trading career? That's a good question. I did work it out up until maybe 6 months ago. I think it was about 33,000 dollars, I think $35,000, something like that. I dare say I've spent over $40,000, I'd say, because obviously, every time you blow an affiliate, it's money. Every time you pay for an evaluation, it's money. But last year and this year, I've more than got that back. So what have I had this year? So it's nearly 19. So I've had 23,000 this year. So far, I had 24,000 last year. So that's $48,000. I had 8,000 in the first year. 48, 50 something. So I'm $12,000 at least up. But you'll get to the stage, and now I've got these 20 accounts. There's no reason really for me to have to put any more money in it. So this is the year for me that's gonna, I'm definitely in the green. There's no argument there. But the way I see it, and I've said this many times, so if you've heard it half a dozen times, just put your fingers in your ears. But for maybe newer guys, if you're paying for an education effectively. So if you do a degree in the UK, you pay $10,000 a year. So if you do a 3 or 4 year degree in the UK, it's going to cost you £30,000 to £40,000. So let's say 3 year, £30,000. What's that? $39,000. Then you've got materials, books, all sorts of other bits and pieces. So a 3 year degree, you won't, you're talking $35,000. You're talking over $40,000. And then you've got to go and find a job. And in a lot of cases, you haven't got that money, so you're borrowing it. So there's a certain amount of interest. You may have had to move away to a university, so you may have had to pay for accommodation. There are certain grants available, but, people will get jobs. But that's kind of how I've mitigated the cost that I'm paying for an education. So, I mean, I've had a great 3 months. So if you work out that again for the next 12 months, it's definitely been well worth it. So I wouldn't let that put you off. What I would do is be very careful how much you spend. Don't do what I do and just throw money at it, because it just doesn't work. You throw money at it, all it's going to do is make your journey so much more painful. I had days where I felt depressed, and weekends that I hated. Even my wife said I was moody a lot. And that's purely and simply because I was just throwing money and I couldn't stop. I felt, times I was feeling that I'm getting addicted. And it's very easy for that to happen. Fortunately, I haven't really got an addictive nature. But, I reckon some people, it could financially cripple them. I was listening to, who's the guy from New Zealand? I forget his name. I forget his name now. He's a nice guy. It'll come to me. I think he said he was about 40,000 in debt. Now, I wasn't in debt. Fortunately, I had the affiliate money, which was giving me around about $1,200 a month. So, Cammy, yeah. So that paid it. With the little I was earning, that more or less covered it. But I think Cammy said they were broke, him and his wife, and he was 40,000 in debt. So I bet some people it could financially cripple them. So you've got to be super careful. I would absolutely advocate never to put your own money in until you know what you're doing and you've proven yourself. Now, I've just put £3,000 of my own money into my account, but I feel I'm at the time now where I'm going to start slowly building that. I don't fear trading that it's going to damage me anymore. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to take stupid risks. And I am aware this is still early. I can't necessarily expect $12,000 every month. I might have a very low month, but for me, it's all about just trying to get consistent payouts. I'm not too bothered how much they are. I just want to get some consistency, and I think that tends to prove to you then you're getting to the stage where the time's right. I watched a video where his wife left him their last fight. Yeah. Oh, I don't doubt it, mate. I don't doubt there's a lot of people in there that have been financially crippled. Put it this way. When I first learned to trade, I traded under a guy called Andrew Lockwood. who was a currency trader from London. Now, he spent years working for trading for various different banks. He was living and working in Singapore for, I think it was Swiss Bank, during the early 2000s when everything went computerized. And he decided to work for himself, trade his own money. And he told me he lost 150,000 in 2 years because he had to learn to trade again. So the more money you've got, the more money you could potentially lose. So it could financially cripple you. So you've got to be so careful. I was lucky I had the affiliate money. If I hadn't, I don't know what sort of position I'd be in now. It's so easy to get through money. It's so easy. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it. I feel in a nice place now. I don't like taking losses. I don't like the feeling. But, you know, I've read a bunch of times it's about being comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. So I'm accepting it. And I know if I accept it, you know, I'll push forward and I'll do okay. But it's not a nice feeling. Especially when it was a tick away from hitting me target. That kind of stings it. But, you know, if I'd have been going for 2 points, it would have been a winning trade. So I don't think the trade was terrible. I don't think it was terrible. We got this channel with a break. We had 2 pushes down and a higher low. You're bound to trap some shorts there. Just unfortunately, it was a little bit too short. But we came back a couple of legs and it did come further up so that, you know, my thought process about it pushing up, but I think that was probably a little bit too cramped. It needed to stretch its legs a little bit, but, you know, if I was going for 2 or 2.5 points, it would have worked, and we wouldn't be discussing it, you know. So it just goes to show you, you know, sometimes. But the way I see it is if I go from 2 points to 3 points, every 3 trades, I'm up 3 points. So I've effectively purchased myself a loss token. You know, you can look at it like that. So we've got a channel here now. We fill that gap. So I'm wondering whether we're going to have a couple of legs and then maybe some more movement up. But it's not the easiest day today. Yeah, so Marco's finishing now, hasn't taken a trade today. I haven't seen a trade from Dan. So it just goes to show you. It's a shame about that one. I could have been up 2 points, but there you go. You know, I think you got to get used to just letting it go. And it is easier. It's not like a normal career where you get a degree and you start working. Training people throw money for years and they'll make it. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know, I will say, I bet a lot of people go from strategy to strategy. I consider myself lucky finding Mac because I 100% believe in this strategy. I think it's brilliant and it's effective and I absolutely believe in it. Do you have any stats on your win rate last year's? No, because every time I blew accounts, I had to restart everything. My win rate at the moment, minus these trades today will put me around about 88, 89%. But the trouble is, I kept records of the accounts in TradeSync. But then when you blow the accounts, you effectively got to kind of, you know, delete them and re-enter them. Otherwise, it just messes everything up. Thanks, Sam. I appreciate that, mate. I'm in a good place anyway. I'm enjoying my trading now. I'm a lot more relaxed. You know, things have obviously changed over the last few years, and they're definitely getting easier. So you've got to be a bit careful here if you're thinking about taking a short. If this is a channel, I expect, you know, somewhere along the lines of that. Something like that. I move those. Oh, I can't move them when they're there. Oh, okay. But that's what I'm thinking. So I'm not thinking of necessarily going short here because I'm not sure about this. But I think it is important after a loss to really make sure you focus and take a really good quality trade the next, because I think 2 losses, sometimes that messes with your head, and that's where Guardian Angel Trader has stopped me trading, and you just walk away for the day. Guaranteed tomorrow you will feel better. I know, it's happened to me. I was down that $500 on all my accounts. A fair chunk of change that was, and I didn't like the weekend. It ruined my weekend, but I came back. I took 3 trades throughout the week and got it back, or got back there, and, I kind of forgotten all about it now, and obviously until this time when we're discussing it. So you will forget it. It will go. So 1,000 tick chart. There was a second entry short, but it's just too risky at the moment. It is a second entry short, but as we've had such a big channel up, I'd expect something down on the best, but it can mess. Yeah, I think it's super accurate, but because it's scalping, it's very fast moving, and as a newer trader or an experienced trader, you can get yourself into trouble super quick, and it's frustrating. It's definitely more stressful than any other trade that I can, it's common sense that the faster you're trading, the more stressful it's going to be. So, trading's tough enough, isn't it? Trading's tough enough. Yeah, I was just looking for the short here, actually. Trader's Trap there. Looks good on the 1,000 as well. It's very tempting.
Order submitted.
I'd expect another leg down. Trouble is, it's quite large. I wouldn't expect that to push straight up from there. Yes, just
Order
leave
canceled.
this, I think. Yeah, risk to reward rate, risk to reward. Personally, I think the starting place is 2 points. I like 3. 3 in a lot of cases gets us 1-to-1. I kind of like that. Now at the moment the ATR is a bit high, and it has been high a lot lately. But yeah, what I will say is once you sort of get 3, 4, 5 points, you're probably going to lose a few more trades, but it depends really. If you're trading in a very tight range, it's not always feasible to go for more points. Yeah, so it's a lot of decisions to make. I think you've got to make, I think it's good maybe to have a 1-to-1, and then if you have a nice correction, maybe go 1-to-2, and have a couple of different scenarios where, there are some times where I will probably go for more points. A nice correction that's quite obvious, or a nice leg down and maybe a nice triple test, and I think then maybe 1-to-2. I think is, go for 6 points or something like that. I think that's worth it. But those triple tests, if we have a nice leg down on tick 10, yeah, it is, yeah. I mean, if you look back at some of Mac's older videos, a lot of the times he'll have a tick above the signal bar, tick below it, and he'll still have less than 2 points. You know, a lot of cases he'd have a 1.25 and a 1.5. Well, that's the equivalent of me going for 3 points now, really. So you have to move with it. If the markets change, you have to move with it. You know, if you have I don't know, if you've got a restaurant and your food cost goes up, you have to put your prices up on your menu. Otherwise, you're going to end up, you know, getting into trouble. So it's not just the wrist bars that are bigger, the signal bars. The next bar is the same size or similar. So for me, you have to go for more points. Right, I'd like to see another leg down here. I'd like to see something like that. Can't move those, unfortunately. Perhaps there is a way, but if you go for 4 ticks with a runner, 90% of your trades will get hit. Yeah. See, I mean, if you've got a runner, if you go for 3 points, when you put your stop to break even, price is 3 points away from the stop, and in a lot of away from where you entered, and in a lot of cases, it won't come back and take it. So it makes your runners more reliable. It's a bit frustrating, really, because Mac made a video, was it last week, beginning of last week, and said, yeah, you've definitely got to go for a point. And then, you know, 6 months ago, he came out and said, if you're going for 1 or 2 contracts, you've got to go for more points. Otherwise, the numbers don't work. And he seemed to be targeting around about the 2 points there. But what can you do? 1 point, in my opinion, is a waste of time. You're going to get crippled. If you're an experienced trader, you can afford to go for runners, you'll get away with it. You need to be one hell of a good trader to make going for 1 point work. Oh my God, it's 4 did the math, over 100 trades going for 1, 2, even. You make more than 1 to 1 in that way. Yeah, absolutely. I think I worked out once more than 80% of my winners went for over 6 points. So theoretically, you think. Now, I mean, if you are trading a 4 or 5 point range, it's not always, feasible to do that. So, you know, the thing is, Mac's been doing it for about 28 years, so you'd expect him to do well. Put it this way, Dan hasn't lost a trade since last October, and he goes for 6 ticks, so that's 50% more. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's 50% more profit. Every 2 trades, you're doubling your money. Have you watched Thomas Wade's Academy, or you are more of Max? No, I've looked at Thomas Wade's. He's a good trader. He's a patient trader. And what I liked about when I started watching him, he showed his losses, which I like. I think it's a lot. I think a lot of traders think it's a weakness if you do that. I don't. I think it's a strength. It shows it's okay to accept it. So many forums and all this sort of stuff, people don't like showing their losses. They think it just makes them a less of a trader. And I don't quite know why. It's never, I used to put my chart on there with losses and wins. Mac never shows a loss. No, I think he should. I think it's important because people can. It's easy to think. I used to see all these trades, and why am I the only one that's losing trades? And a lot of people that posted on the Facebook group weren't putting the losses. It would be nice to just to see one. I think it's important as a trainer or a tutor to show people that losses will happen no matter who you are. It is important. He did show one small doji trade far from the EMA a few years ago. Did he really? The single entries now. Range rules. Yeah. It's not the easiest of day todays. It's been really kind of a bit all over the place, hasn't it? We've had no what I would call sort of consistency. But some days we get days like this, and for me, those are the days I say we need to be patient and stay out. And I got into a trade. I didn't think it was a bad trade, to be fair. Not only that, we've made a perfect measured leg. So are we going to get a correction? That's the kind of thing I was looking for. 2 legs down. Like he goes for 8 ticks. Yeah, 8 to 10 ticks in some case, doesn't he? Safer bet. Yeah. Yeah, I like Thomas Wade. I'm on his forum as well. On his, what's it? Nice to just flick backwards and forwards and have a look. He posts his trades quite a lot, so he's got same thing I'm looking at with a break and a push up. He hasn't got it as a range, but that doesn't really matter too much. I'm not saying it definitely is a range. It's just it may be. I'm not very interested in his trades so much. I'd just like him. The trouble is, when I first started trading and he was marking a dozen trades a day, I felt really inferior. I was thinking, why am I not seeing this many trades? Because in real time, you can't take it. So if you're showing traders that, and this is not an insult, I put many people onto Mac. I'll bring his website out. It's not an insult. I just found that I would prefer him to say, okay, those are the trades I've marked in real time. I would have taken that one and that one. That's all I'd have preferred. Same again. You're missing the point. It's not a criticism. I wished somebody would do something. It's not a criticism at all. You're missing the point. You're missing the point. I rave about Mac, how much of a nice guy he is. You're missing the point. Just because you're saying, I wish he'd put this, I wish he'd do that, it's not a criticism. You need to stop looking upon it as a criticism. It's not. No, we don't at all. We don't. Look, everyone has a right and an opinion to make a suggestion. Yeah. Yeah, you're missing the point. It's not a criticism. Wishing someone would do this. That's all. You're missing the point. Yeah, it's not a, it's, you know, I understand people get defensive over Mac. I get that. But I wouldn't say a bad word about the guy. And I've said many times, you know, people say they ask questions and I'll get his website out. You know, but it's okay. It's okay to have a point. Mention Mac's Facebook page to confirm that was really him. I managed to link a Facebook post of him fishing with a video on YouTube of him saying he will be away on a fishing trip. I think he is away on a fishing trip, isn't it? I've had a photo from someone of him holding a fish. Integrated trade. This is RTB. I've got a question for you. If you can remember, you sent me an email. All my emails were full up. It was showing 100%, so I had to delete loads of emails. You sent me an email maybe 6 months ago of a new affirmations. Do you remember? Yeah, RTB. Sorry, Matt, I didn't realise it was you. You sent me an email with some new affirmations. I really like them, and for the life of me, I think I've deleted them because my emails it kept showing 100% full. Delete some emails, otherwise you'll have to stop getting them. I think it still says that actually. For some reason, I don't quite know why. If you can remember, yeah, resend it. Yeah, resend it. Let's have a look. I had to delete a load of them. Yeah, look, it's still saying it for some reason. Your storage is almost 100% full. I can't seem to delete anything more. It's weird. So I don't know why it does that. Let's have a look. Mac marks trades for different levels. If you're not good enough to read them, that's on you, mate. You're missing the point. You've thrown your dummy out your pram for the wrong reasons. You know, we're not. It's not an insult. It's not a crit. You keep coming back and arguing me. I'm not criticising him. I'm not insulting him. And I've said many times I'll always be grateful to Matt. You're missing the point. It's okay to have an opinion. Let me have a look. I had to pay Gmail $1 a month. I know. As soon as I click in there, it says pay for more data. And that's the greatest trade of all time. And I have a dog, therefore I am godlike. No, I think Mac is an absolute diamond. And for the small part he trades, he charges people. I feel like I'm robbing him. And I've said it 100 times. So you're just taking it the wrong way. I'm not insulting him at all. Right, affirmation, but I changed the name. Yeah, it was RTB sent me one. I think it was about 6 or 8 months ago. And I really liked it. You sent me a few, and this one I liked, and I watched it a few times, but then I can't for the life of me find where it is. The only thing I can think of. The thing is, Mr. Balls, the thing is, if there really was that many high probability trades in a day, you would take more. You wouldn't take. Now, I can spot high probability trades after the fact. But there isn't that many. And two, in real time, a lot of the times it's hard to know what's where. So it's not that straightforward. That's right, ticks trading. Yeah, he'll send me that one back again. I'll pass it on to you as well if he sends me it. It is really good, actually. That tries to make sense of it. Yeah, he does. And I get that. It's just his way of doing it, isn't it? It's okay to wish someone would rather. You know, I wished he'd do a. Did you take a loss? Yeah. No, it's on here, bud. I took on the 1,000 tick chart. It was a higher low. I was a tick off it, to be honest with you, which was frustrating. We had that little channel and kind of a couple of legs back and a higher low. Now, it was a bit high to take it that, but we'd had a leg up. My thought process, 2 legs back, higher low, we're going to have a second leg up, but it stung me. Let me have a look. Move that out of the way. Yeah, of course. The point is, we're not as good. Absolutely, yeah. Actually, you're not. You had the same amount of experience. Yeah, I get it. I get it. You know, it's like with the point dilemma. We've had that conversation. Yeah, don't get offended, mate. I don't mean it nastily, honestly. We've had that conversation many times about the just going for 1 point. And if you look back at some of his older videos, in most cases, with a tick above and below the signal bar, you're risking less than 2 points. It's almost impossible to do now. So it's like anything. If you sell something and your stock price goes up, you have to kind of put that. You know, you have to kind of put that. Can't to your Lance, you've come a long way. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. But it's taken a long time. You know, I was probably guilty, like many people, thinking trading was a lot harder than it is. Now, I've been trading now for nearly 4.5 years total. Now, I'm just now starting to make some money, so it goes to show how long it does take. I understand it as many years experience, but yeah, more and more trades. I like skipping 4-tick cap trade. Yeah, and I've had this conversation with Mac on here before. He went, you start off with what I teach you, the basics, then you find your own way of doing things. You know, even people like Dan and Marco, who are very strict Pats type stuff, go for 6 ticks. You know, because they kind of realise that the market goes for so much. I missed the higher low. Talking to you guys, all that. You know about higher low here. You know about the higher low that I showed. I'm talking to you guys. That's on me. Yeah, it happens, mate. I'm talking sometimes and not focusing. It happens. But, you know, a lot of talking is learning as well. We're all chatting with each other. You're worried about entry, trading back into the range. 2 legs back up. Top enough. Read that again. And were you worried about the entry, trading back into the range? I tend to just have a gut feeling now, and I tend to just go for it. What I can see is sideways, 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 and I'm thinking this. So I'm thinking this. So I expected price to work up there a little bit higher. Now I entered here on a limit order and it missed it by a tick. That was for 3 points. Now this is the 1,000 tick chart. The ATR is lower, so in hindsight I'd have been better off. But what I like is we had 2 legs back, clearing out any possible stops here. Strong bullish bar and then a higher low. So sometimes I'll take them, sometimes I won't. But what I like is we got a bearish bar there, which triggered and then stopped out. So for me, if there's shorts there, and there, this thing would push higher. It's just one of those things. It happened. But it was, you know, I normally don't take them that high, but something about it I liked, and I just took it, and, you know, it happens. But I was 1 tick off 3 points. So, you know, it may have been a winning trade and we've moved on. But, you know, sometimes you get a little bit unlucky, and sometimes you get into a poor trade and you get a bit lucky. You know, luck sometimes plays a little bit of a part. But there you go. Let's have a look. Yeah, I actually rate him as probably one of the better traders I know on YouTube, Penguin. That guy's got some serious skills. He can read the market like a palm reader reads the middle of your hand. He's a very skilled chart reader, he is. 4 ticks per trade versus going for 46 per trade, even losses. Yeah, it's like anything. The more you trade, the more you notice things, the more you just adapt to your own way of doing things. You know, some people, I know people who go for 1-to-1. I know people who go for 1-to-2. I know people who still scalp a point. I know people who do 2 points. You know, I started going for 2 points from watching Thomas Wade. And when I went through the numbers, I think, I don't know, I went through a bunch of charts of mine, Dan's, Marco's, and Max. And I went for every trade and marked how much they went for. And I think out of 105 trades, it was 3 that didn't make 2 points. So I moved on to 2 points. And with 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, I did the same. I went through the numbers. I think it was with Tony, with Runner. You come out. I absolutely, mate. But as Max said about, I don't know if you remember, Max said about 6 months ago, he said if you can only go for 1 or 2 contracts, you've got to go for more points profit, otherwise the numbers don't match. And he actually came out and said that. And I agree with him. If you're going for 1 or 2 contracts, you've got to go for 2 points minimum. But that's my personal opinion. So we got a channel with a break, new high trial. I got 1 strike or twice. Is this thing going higher or is it coming down? Albrooks goes for 160 ticks. Yeah, I mean, as you get a better trader and you get a better chart reader, you can really do whatever you want. You know, no one can kind of tell you what to do when you know what you're doing. You know, it's like in any walk of life. If you're a carpenter, if you're a bricklayer, everyone does things slightly different, even though we all kind of got taught the same way. But you have to kind of find your own way, I think, after a while. You know, it's what works for you. Some people take a point, some people take 2, some people take 6 ticks. So we're struggling here. There is a failure here, so this may come back to the EMA. Try go once, try go twice above this, so may not be a terrible trade. Trouble is, I don't have enough. I don't do enough contracts for runners really. I could go on to micros, but I don't know. You know, later on down the line, I may do. I kind of do what I feel comfortable with doing. But I'm not a fan of being in a trade. I like to try and get in and out. So it's all right. I'm just looking at these other 2 charts. We got a channel down, 2 attempts to push high. It could come down, but the trouble is, overall, this latter part of the day, well, since the market's open, have been bullish. So I'm not a fan of taking shorts. I will take them at certain circumstances. But we have had a break, 2 pushes to a new high. Trouble is, signal bar is no good there. It's not very good on the other charts, although I think it probably will come down below this area here. Unfortunately, there's just nothing I can do with that. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. The trouble is, if you're scalping for a point and the trade's poor, sometimes I think if it's a good trade, it'll always go for more than 2 points. And I think sometimes if it's a poor trade but they win it, is that giving them sort of like a false sense of security? Do you know what I mean? Pushed up 1, 2, 3. Is this a triple test? Who knows? It can give them a false sense of security. I think so anyway. I remember when I started, I remember getting 4 winners in a row and I was over the moon and I'd taken me time, and then I had one loss and it was like 3.9 point ATR, and with commissions I was in the red and I was gutted. Yeah, they do. If it's a good solid trade, they really move. So I think sometimes it's tempting.
Order submitted.
Okay. I'm in a trade here. I've taken what I think is a triple test. It's not a massive risk. That's the good thing. It is like a triple test. The bar on the other one is much better, so
Order
beautiful.
filled.
Okay, so that's taking the sting out of the tail. It was actually on the 1,000 tick chart I took it. So if you're patient, you wait for something, it does work. Let me just disconnect. See how it's showing one available there, yeah? If you look on my Replicanto, it's showing one that's yellowed out. But the important part is, if you look on Ninja Trader, everything's where it should be. Nothing's changing. Sorry. And if you look on here, everything's grayed out. So you can see that one, it's showing there's a position still open. There isn't, it's just showing that one. So if you just disconnect it, it'll say there's one position open, and then reconnect it, it'll go. So I'll show you the trade I took there when it reconnects. If it connects. Yeah, that's the trade I took on the 2,000 tick chart. We got this channel up, we got a break of it, push up, made 2 attempts to push lower, and it is a triple test. It was like a leg and a leg, and it didn't work, not for a huge amount, but it worked. So if you get in, say there, it went up for just enough, 3.5 points. So I liked it. It wasn't a huge risk. Part of the reason it worked out, it was a small bar. It worked out at $138, so it was about 2.5 points. I think. Let's have a look. Maybe a bit less than that. Oh shoot! Yeah, it was only a small bar. I think I got on a tick above it, something like that. That would have been 112. Yeah, it was about 2 to 2.5 points, I think, by the time I got in it. But I liked it. We had sort of 2 legs down, and it is a triple test. And it worked. That was the main thing anyway. So that's taken the sting out of the tail. There's a triple test short long gear as well, but I don't like that big stem. We've had a leg and a leg, and it's going sideways. So let me have a look. Market repay back test. Thanks, S. 1,000 tick chart, second chart. Yeah, I've actually found that more profitable. I mean, to be honest with you, I think next time I trade, well, I'm going to go for the 2 points. If I'd have gone for 2 points on this, both those would have worked. So I'd have been up $200 anyway. So that might be an option because the ATR is lower on this. What is the ATR? Yeah, it's 2.5 points. Yeah. that went for a tick under. So it went for 2 3/4. So that would have made 2 points comfortably. So perhaps that's the order of the day, because it is a smaller ATR. Perhaps 2 points is a better option for that. I'll change that from now on to 2 points. I'd rather have 100 quid. Leg and a leg. I don't think it's a terrible trade. It's triggered that bearish bar, but I don't like it, so I'm just going to sit out. Thing is, when I priced up going for 2 points, I looked at 105 trades it was over a 2-week period. It was Dan's, it was Marco's, it was Jope's, and some of Max. And out of the 105, 103 went for 2 points. So going from 1 point to 2 point, you're making 100% more profit. Even if it works 1 in 5 times, it's still worth doing it. That's my opinion. But it worked a lot more than that. So it was an absolute no-brainer for me to go for 2 points. 3 points, same again. I went through chart after chart after chart, and it worked up over a month. I think I'd have been, it was quite a bit over so many trades. I was up about $900 more. I looked at a point and a half, 2 points, and 3 points, and it was a resounding. I think I did it with, I'm sure it was Tony. Although Tony, I think Tony's been trading for quite a few years, although I think he's looking more at this. And I think it was Tony, I'm sure it was. We looked at it, he went through the numbers, I went through it, and it was an absolutely no-brainer. Now, it's a no-brainer if you leave every trade going for 3 points, and under some circumstances I don't. So I think I would be better leaving everything for 3 points, which is why I left that first one, I think. I think this is going to push up above there, so I don't think that's a bad trade personally. I think that's okay to go along there, even just to get above there. I'm not taking it myself, but where's the measuring tool? I'll be surprised if that doesn't tick above there. You've got a big bearish bar there, which is triggered by 1 tick. It almost always takes these out. It's rare it doesn't. So if you got in there, even on a limit order, to get 2 points, if it breaks above there, it'll push through. Whenever you see that, it almost always takes that out. It's liquidity sat there. I would take 12 ticks if the average bar was 15 or 16 ticks. In a lot of cases, it is. What is it at the moment? 3.7. So 3.12, that's 13, 4. That's 14 ticks. So the ATR at the moment is 3.7. 12 ticks for the 3. It's 19 ticks, something like that. Is that right? Let's have a look. Mind you, it is sideways, so you never know, which is why I didn't take it. But yeah, 3.7 ATR, 3. It's 12, 34, 56. Yeah, it's 19 ticks. So the average bar is 19 ticks at the moment. So going for 12 ticks is kind of underestimating it, really. Ended up making more points, going to micros and profit. There's so many different ways of trading, and what I say is if you try something new and it works for you, no matter what anybody says, stick with it. You know, there's so many different ways to do things. There really were. My 4-8 ticks. I had stops 4 ticks on sim because I found accounts. Yeah, I mean, I started with the 1 point and I did that for probably the first year, and then, you know, strategies aren't kind of handed down to us on you know, on what's the word I'm looking for? They're not handed down to us on tablets. They come from purely and simply sitting in front of price and seeing the patterns and the shapes and the way price moves. So this is about to tick above this bearish bar now. So if you've gotten on a limit order there, I'm confident you're going to get 2 points. It almost always picks these off. There you go. So push through comfortably. So that's another type of method I have of just looking at price. It's not the greatest signal bar, but once it starts to go up, it's important to see there's a big bearish bar which is triggered there, and often, nearly almost, it pushes up. Message above. I heard Al Brooks on his YouTube channel say that if you are scalping, you should be half of the average bar. But somebody was saying recently that he goes for 100. Yeah, someone else mentioned he goes for 100 odd ticks. I think because he's been doing it so long, he's probably got multiple ways of entering price. He's been trading these longer than half of you lot have been born, I think. So, you know, you notice things. It's like another... I've mentioned this dozens of times. I notice when we have one of these double width bars, this type of thing, that's moving up. See that moving up there? Whenever we get a bearish bar somewhere along that finishes on or close to its lows, if you buy there, 2-point risk, 2-point profit. Works so many times. 1-to-1 risk. You'll never hear stock crypto forex trader arguing about the size of net profit. Yeah, there's so many different ways to trade, isn't there? There's a lot of different... Yeah, you're going to accumulate stuff. But sometimes if you know, if I learn Pats and then I just by sitting in front of these markets for nearly 4 years, I notice when we get a double width channel that's going up or down. In this case, we've got a bearish bar. If you just buy on its close, often it crosses over and pushes up. And if you do it 1-to-1, you've only really got to get it right 55% of the time, and you're making money. And the beauty is, you know, you're only taking a 2-point risk, which is $100. It's surprising how accurate those things are. It really is. What I call a double width bar, as opposed to, you know, that being more single width. But we got one there. Double width. It's quite wide, coming down. You got a bullish bar, triggers it by a couple of ticks, comes down. You got another one there, triggers it, goes up by maybe a point, 3/4 of a point. So if you buy at the close, there's your 2-point risk. Came down, it works. So sometimes you'll get 2 or 3. There's another one there. It's surprising how accurate they are. You're going to win more than them on a lot better rate than you win a coin toss. And a coin toss is 50-50, so I think that's worth doing, I do. It's something I just watch at the moment. I have been for 6 or 8 months. Just watching them, just seeing how accurate they are, seeing when they don't work. So, leg down, leg down. This could be a failed break out of this. We often have that push down, across, push down, but it's coming down a bit too far now for me, so it's one of his strat. Yeah, a few people have said that. I forget what he calls them now. Also above. I'm going to have to look into him, actually. I think anything you learn in this business is only going to help you. But I learnt that just purely by sitting and watching every day. And whenever you get these, this is what I consider a single width bar. I mean, I'm stating the obvious here, but just for anybody who's not sure, that's what I call a single width bar. That's what I call a double width bar. So whenever you get something like that, you know what I mean? But it's surprising. You do it 1-to-1, you know, or even add a tick for commissions. 4 years with this system, yeah, just question things, yeah. But yeah, a few people have said it's Al Brooks has a setup like that. I forget, does he call it a pullback something or other or whatever? I don't know, but you will notice things, and I dare say Al Brooks has done that very same thing. Just notice things, and you adjust, and you change, and you learn, and you know, you get better and better. Swing trades, but I think there's so many different ways to trade. I'd like to get into more swing trading or start to understand it a little bit more. you know, there's no reason why you can't do a multiple different. When I first learned to trade, there was an American guy that was part of Andrew Lockwood's group, which taught with him, and he'd been trading for 25 years or so. And he says he scalps and swing trades, which apparently is quite a strange combination. You tend to think swing traders are very calm, patient, methodical thinkers, and scalpers are for the ADHD, as a bunch of us out there, the ones that can't sit still and the fidget types. Because I consider myself a lot like that. I'm very kind of fidgety, and I may look like I'm patient, but you know, but my brain kind of works about 1.5 speed. I've always been the same. Daily second entrance, solely accurate. Yeah, it's surprising what you learn if you open your eyes and sit in front of price. So daily second entries. The trouble is with daily second entries, the bars are that big, and a little bit of movement in a bar traded on this can do that, can't it? And obviously, if you are trading on a daily bar, then I suppose you trade slightly different. But yeah, I don't doubt it, mate. I mean, I'd love to have a go at this on the 15-minute chart or something like that, just to take everything and slow it down a speed. That would be interesting. I mean, in all fairness, I only ever take maximum one trade a day. It's rare I take 5 trades in a week, and that works really well for me. But I'd love to have a go on the 15-minute or something like that, just to, because apparently you can trade it on any time frame, so Max says. I'd love to just have a go and try and slow the whole process down, which is why I liked Penguin's setup, because that's kind of just like this type of thing, a blown out version of Max. And that's what I like about it, is sometimes I'll take, in fact, I did a few of his trade ones for a couple of months, and it was surprising how many Mac marks. It's the same kind of principle. So we got a channel down. Now there is a bit of a channel here, so this may push back in, but it's a may, so I'm not interested. It's just something about this I don't like. Yeah, I think in hindsight on that other trade I took, I should have left the stop. It was a tactical move, but I should have just left it, I think. And I'd have been probably at break even. That's something I'm going to have to do. Sometimes it'll be a tactical decision. What's my P&L for the day? Well, that's my loss. So I've just had one win, one loss. So I'm down about $125, around about $132 on each account. A little bit less on some. But what's my summary? Let's have a look. Okay. My summary is I'm down $2,042. That's all right. That's not bad at all. That I'm usually average around about $3,000 for a win, just under. So that is so. And the next winning trade will put me back in the green. So, if you're patient and you sit and wait, you'll often pull it back. I did it the other day, and I did it today. Now I've not got the back to where I was price-wise, but that doesn't really bother me. The fact that I was calm and patient and took a winning trade, as I say, I could have gone for more profits. I've seen a few trades. What's it used to do that? Sam, if he took a loss, sometimes he would take his profit down and go for more profits, and that can backfire, and that would have done there. So if I got in there, now, I probably shouldn't go for 3 points on the 2000 tick chart, but I did anyway. But so that went for 3 1/4. So that just made the profit. So if I'd have got greedy and tried to get more there, that would have backfired on me and I'd have had 2 losses. So what I don't do now is if I take a loss, try and get it all back and some. I just stick with my normal strategy because there's nothing more frustrating than getting the 3 points you go for, getting a bit greedy and ended up getting stopped out, and then you're down 2. So, you know, being said that, if I see a nice correction and I think there's a bigger move and it's very clear, then I may extend it and go for more points, but that'll be a tactical decision and not based on, you know, after a loss because I feel like I've lost a bit. So yeah, I'm down about $2,000. So that's a relatively small amount for to be down, to be honest with you. Especially, but I mean, each account, it's $132. The best way to do this when you do multiple accounts is just focus on trading this one account and let the rest just copy in the background. It's very easy to look at the numbers and think, oh my God, I'm down this. But then if you win a trade, you're in the green. So it really doesn't matter. It's hard to read today, this afternoon, is it? It could be so many different things that, for me, I think it's more, I don't know, it's kind of sideways, but I did say there after this, it could pull back, push back in, it did. I just didn't like it because we were at the highs. We're at the highs of this move. We've already kind of played out, so I didn't really want to take that just in case we had 2 legs down, but it did work. Yeah, I looked at that trade there. Looked at that trade there. I've just noticed Dan's marked it. That one there. Because we'd had 2 pushes, I kind of just wanted to give it a bit of space, but Dan did mark that one. Yeah, he did. And that one there, I mentioned that as well, I think. Yeah, I did. It is a failure. Second entry long, triggered it. So, see what I mean about these good trades. So Dan took that. Look how many points it came down for. He took that one as well. Look how many points. In fact, it never came back. And he took that one as well. Look how many points. So if you get a good setup, these things just go and go. Let's just have a quick look. So if you took that, that went down a total of 13 ticks. Even if you'd have followed it down to that swing, to that swing, to that swing, to that swing, got stopped out, there's 8 points there. Same with there, that came down even more. That one never came back. You could have just rode that up. So if you get to good setups, they really go for it. So Thomas usually says that every day there's at least 1 or 2 easy textbook setups if you're patient. Maybe 6 months ago, not anymore. Yeah. The trouble is, what one person's textbook is to another can differ a little bit. Some people might specialize more in taking certain style of trades. They might be good at a certain type of trades, like picking tops. I generally don't do it because I'm crap at it, so I stay away from it. I probably shouldn't really, but and I noticed Dan, a lot of his trades are where we get rejection off the EMA. And same there, we push up, trap some longs and get rejection off the EMA. So I don't take a lot of those, but I look at his chart every day, every time he posts it, and I pay more attention. So when I see these, I'll start to take them. So as you get more experienced, these trades that may be a bit tricky, that one I liked. We got 2 legs up. It looks good. It's congested. There's a low high expected to come down at the EMA. But as you get more proficient at taking these, they're going to, like Max says, you get to a point where they come a lot easier. You notice them, you can just see them. So whereas Dan's been trading a few years longer than me, these trades might be textbook to him, but to me, I'm kind of still picking up on them. And I wait for, certain types. I was very tempted at that one. But I wanted to be out before the tops, and there wasn't a huge amount of space left. But really obvious, brilliant looking trades, I don't see many of them, which is why I think you've got to kind of learn and adapt and expand your portfolio a little bit. So we got a leg up there, 2 legs back, and a leg up. One of the best things you can do as well is learn to read legs. It's surprising how accurate they are. At least then you can get a direction. We've got a leg up there. We've got a pull down, a cross and a pull down, and then a strong move up. If you can work out legs, you've got a really good idea where price is going. At least then all you've got to do is find a good entry, and at least you've got a fair idea that... so we've had a break of this, 2 pushes to a new high. But yeah, I mean, at some point I may go for runners in the future. But I think Max says, I think, is it 20 or 25% of your contracts don't do it anymore. So really you want to be trading 4 or 5 contracts really to have a runner. But I do see so many runners just getting stopped out. I think the runner that Mac took for a point got stopped out. In fact, most I see of his get stopped out. But you're losing a point for 5 contracts then. So, it's not for everyone. Like he says, runners are a personal thing. Not everyone likes them. Some people let them run and keep down here. Other people follow them up a bit at a time. I think Mac does that. But, it's a personal thing there. It's kind of... what suits you really. Some people just don't like them. 3 is enough. Main target 8 yeah, maybe. But then if it doesn't work, you're kind of missing out $100, aren't you? They're not for everyone. I don't know. I have changed and developed as I've sort of grown and learned, and I would class myself as a trader into the intermediate level now. So I'm not a beginner anymore. I've learned enough skills to make money. I still make mistakes. I still take the odd impulsive trade. I've still got a lot to learn, and I'm learning every day. But it's taken me 4.5 years to get here, just to get to the stage where I'm starting to make money. So it's not a quick fix. But anywhere where you can make $12,000 in a month, you're never going to get payments like that doing most other jobs. You're just not going to. And they were only from 9 of my accounts. I've got 20. And then you've got the potential to trade your own money and other prop firms. So there's more than enough money you never need to make doing this. And it's just appreciating the fact that it takes a little bit more time than you may initially thought. I don't like it with Apex because of the drawdown. You're on the wrong side. Yeah, the thing is, once you hit $2,600, your drawdown stops. So then if you're the type of trader that does swing for a little bit more, that may then be okay. I like the fact that Take Profit Trader and My Fund of Futures, I've tried My Fund of Futures a few times, and I like the fact that you can go up and come down, and if you get out break even, it's not affecting your drawdown during the day. So certain prop firms might suit certain traders, but when you do it that $2,600 with Apex, your drawdown stops anyway. So you could go up 1,000 points and come down 1,000 points, break even. It won't make a damn difference. So so we got a break, 2 pushes to a new high. It'd be interesting to see what happens when price gets up here, because you know, we've got Fridays. We've got Friday's lows, haven't we? We've broken that already. Let's check out the daily. Yeah, so this is interesting. We've had that big move down. We've had 2 legs up, big bearish bar. I love the way we came down, fill that gap to the tick and reversed immediately. And then the prices then, once this happened, they were clearly coming down to break the lows. But a lot of the times when we see this, where's my legs? When we see this, we'll get this. 2 legs down to a new low. So we may end up getting something like that. And then something like that, who knows? Or this thing could just career down. But I'd expect this as it's broken the lows, I'd expect a pullback, and quite a substantial one. Having said that, sometimes people buy there and often it triggers you and stops you out. But you know, I wouldn't be surprised if we continued up for quite a bit. But that is just an educated guess, nothing more. So, you know, I wouldn't trade based on that. It's just nice to know that, you know, where prices could go. So I'm pleased with today, actually. I've taken a loss and a win. That's fine. I think it's always important to get a win after you've had a loss. I think it recorrects your mind a little bit. Now, I'm down a little bit of funds, but I'm not bothered about that in the slightest. And if I'd have been going for 2 points, I'd have actually been up a bit now. I'd have been up $200, but there you go. You live and learn. Not everything goes smoothly. Okay, I think I'm about done, actually. We're coming up 6:15, so I'm going to have some hungry people tapping my door in a minute. So, not a bad day. Up 1, down 1. Not the easiest day today. It's a bit slow and a little bit go. I will go and relax. I'm going to go and have a single malt. Actually, I haven't had one for a couple of days. You're welcome, mate. So, where is he? Where is he? Where are you? Let's set the record straight here. Mr. Balls. Yeah, look, I wasn't being critical of Mac. It was just an observation. So, you know, don't get the wrong idea. I you know, big Mac up all the time. I think he's an absolute gentleman, but you know, it's okay. It's okay to make observations and to wish someone to do this or wish to do that. So, you know, don't get offended by it. That wasn't my intention. So there you go. So, you know, this is on the job learning for me day by day. You know, and I've come a distance and I'm starting to make money now. So fingers crossed, touch wood, it continues. I think I'm out of the ditch now, and on my way out of it. But as you guys know, I've been up there, I've been down there many times, and you know, like all of us, it's that journey, isn't it, to becoming a trader that's getting ripped to pieces and shredded to bits, to slowly finding its way out and up into the big world of trading, and hopefully making a nice living for ourselves. But there you go. So if you're carrying on trading, best of luck. Failing that, have a great evening. Stay safe. And I'll be back tomorrow and we'll do it all again. Bye for now.